The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. Once more, do we go into the breach, dear friends? And as always, we like to come to you at this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
And, well, we had a little bounce. We had a little pullback of that bounce. And the question is, which way we'll end up? We're up 1 point on the S&P cash after being up about 9 points on the S&P cash. Volume's much better than it was yesterday, about 2 billion shares. Well, a little less than 2 billion shares as we start the show, but much better than yesterday's a little less than 1.7 billion shares. Volume measured in dollars for the entire markets yesterday were incredibly lean. We had a little bounce out here today. I suspect that we had a lot of people short this bounce. And if there is a good time to short, my guess would be tomorrow afternoon, not today. So we'll take a look at it, but we've got options expiration. And my thought is that they'll push this thing up to 2,500 on the S&P cash tomorrow if they have any opportunity to do so. But we shall see. Anyway, kind of a weak market. Not a lot of sellers, not a lot of buyers. A lot of people sitting on their hands. A lot of stocks that were highly shorted. We'll talk about today from earnings. But for the most part, probably time to start getting into a little bit of history.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1942, during World War II, 6 German saboteurs secretly entered the United States on a mission to attack its civil infrastructure and are executed, actually in 1944, by the United States for spying. 2 of the saboteurs disclosed the plot for the FBI and aided the authorities in their manhunt for their collaborators. They were imprisoned, given a sentence of 30 years. I think both of those 2 had either grown up or spent a great deal here in the United States earlier in their life, and they didn't much like getting shipped over here to do this, so they kind of jumped out, but they were somewhat noticeable. But just before midnight on June 12th, in a heavy fog, German submarines reached the American coast off of Long Island, deployed a team who rowed ashore in an inflatable boat. Same thing happened just off the coast of Florida. They ran right into a Coast Guard guy that was wandering up and down the beach. They bribed him to stay silent. He put the cash in his pocket, instantly went up and rang the alarm, and was a little richer for his own good. The 2 that got 30 years were pardoned in 1948, sent back to Germany. Never heard what happened to them. But we do have spies occasionally landing in the United States. For every time someone tells me how bad things are, I know that there were times when things were truly bad. We've got first world problems of all kinds of things. In the third world, they've got real problems like finding something to drink or eat and not being killed on a daily basis. So I like to remind ourselves that we've had it hard in the past. I think we're kind of a little bit too easy on ourselves these days. Not much going on out here other than a mad market. So we're going to get right to charts, start looking at them. What did we have? After the bell from last night, GWTH, which is GW Pharma. We talked about this one as a big replacement for opioid drugs. No real reason why this thing came in a little light, other than they're still trying to get started. Down to 105.07, but much more about 109, 108 here for the last 30, 40 minutes. Interesting, it did gap down. Volume has picked up. You could make a kind of a case out here that this is an ABC on the way down. So I tried to figure out a little bit about why this thing, one, missed, and two, was kind of looked at on the downside, because it may be one day one of the biggest all-time drugs of all time, but not a lot going on in there. Lending Club also. Now this one, as we said, you got to watch out for all these stocks that have been beaten up. This one took a rip, had a huge short interest in it, and has rocketed up to $6.21 today. So in that one, you've got kind of a little bit of everything you're looking for. But we'll keep an eye on that one. LMNX. What else on this one? Right at support, didn't do much, bounced a little out here on no volume today. To Marriott International, down. Looks like support's right around 98. I think we discussed that yesterday. So I don't see a lot happening in that one, other than maybe 98 is somewhere where you could buy this thing if things turn up. Mankind, almost no movement on this one. Open a little lower, moved a little higher, but as a penny stock, it is what it is. Tenet Healthcare is down, testing the previous low, doing so on significantly higher volume today, already closing in on 10 million shares compared to the April 20th low at 1466 with 6 million shares. So that one looks like it will break through the bottom based on volume. Twilio, nice bounce on this one again. A handful of these stocks were getting heavily shorted going in earnings last night, so there was a lot of offsides. This one back up to the previous high that had about 10 million shares at $34.45. We've got about that today. Went above it. It's back in the trading range, though, and I think that's all you got to say about that. So today's Tuesday morning, right? All day. So let's see what we've got. Did I get Tuesday morning? After the bell, Tuesday morning. There we go. Let's take a look at these. CVS. Yeah, a lot of these Coors was one of the biggest and heavily shorted stocks yesterday. I put that in my newsletter this morning, which was kind of interesting. They were upwards of 30% of all shares yesterday were being shorted. CVS Caremark, not much movement in this one. This is still in the range. What else do we have? We've got Coors. Again, this thing popped up fairly strongly. And again, just a lot of these individual stocks, people are getting very gambly-like. Not using a lot of forethought out here. And again, you see stocks a lot like this that will bounce severely before they actually do start heading down if they've got real weakness. We'll talk more about Coors when we come back.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And as we are back, still not much going on. Up 1 point on the S&P cash. Of course, we had a nice range out here today, but I just think every time we move a little higher, we got a lot of people piling on. Then generally by the end of the day, they have to cover. So it'll be very interesting to watch the last 30 minutes of the day out here. Volume is just a little over 2 billion shares on the NYSE consolidated tape as we go to the second segment today. Anyway, we're talking about Michael Kors, and of course, it was on the list of the most heavily shorted stocks yesterday. But yeah, it went from 12% on Friday, which is pretty common because you'll have market makers going short a stock intraday. So there's always somewhere, depending on the stock, 5 to 10%. It's kind of a floor. But we went from 12% on Friday to 27% yesterday, to give you an idea. And just a lot of people get in front of freight trains out here and getting real gambly, which always makes me think that if you're better off sitting on your hands a lot of times. And Cool Hand Luke said it, sometimes no hand is a real cool hand. And, did he say that?
Yeah, well, sometimes nothing can be a real cool hand.
Yes, he did say that. So anyway, I'm just thinking that probably going up into earnings, probably, we had a bunch kind of bouncing, but in retrospect, right now the signals we're getting are very mixed, and I'm not real surprised that we're not holding the 2490 and or holding and blowing through the lows either. Just a very tight, locked market. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648. Wanted to see how LNG did after the bell. And not a bad looking move out here on natural gas for LNG. This thing did have volume. It went through the previous March 22nd low. It's done so on a whole lot of volume, and it looks like it's going to close back into that trading range. When we look at natural gas today, it's up 1.5 cents, so no big deal. But 28.17 or $2.81 and 7/10 of a cent up there. So not much happening on that. Oil off 16 cents on the OPEC meeting, and of course that's going to be over, I think, tomorrow morning. So we'll go from API numbers to OPEC putting out some kind of bovine excrement, if you know what I mean, and they will throw that at every fan they can see and see if it doesn't stick to some wall. This is a very tortured analogy. But then we get to the numbers that really matter, which are the EIA numbers tomorrow at 10:30. So might have a little action in crude out here. They may even be able to spike this with some well-placed comments, but getting to be more and more the boy who cried wolf. Rig count on Friday. Yeah, EIA and rig count. So what do we got? Gold's off $3.50, no big deal. Was up higher. Just everybody wanting to short everything right now in a market. And of course, one of the oldest sayings in the market is don't be short a quiet market. So it's very tough for me to want to be pulling the trigger here. As bad as this looks, I want some kind of signal. This was about 10 points. If the thing would have been about 20 points, we would have been up 20 points and been up 1 when we started the show. May have looked at it, but up 9 or 10 points and down 9, it's just not that much so far. Plug Power, no big moves out here. Revlon did have a nice move. This one right back up and through its down move that came from, what is that? Came from down move. That was 2nd of February, down on 17.5 million shares. The downside, though, is we're up here today with 3.5 million shares. So if you want to talk about light volume bounces, Ralph Lauren, that'd be something I'd keep on my radar if volume does not increase in the next couple of days. That may just be a flat-out short squeeze engineered with that little volume. Valiant, which had been the whipping boy forever, up today on some decent volume. Nothing to write home about, no signals to be made other than the gap up. 1825 is the high. What resistance? Yeah. Let's take a quick look at Apple. Apple up a little higher today. Foxconn did say that the phone was going to be more expensive, but they're thinking that Apple's going to sell it for about $1,000 to maybe as low as $1,000, but no more than $1,200. It was feared that Apple was going to try to sell this thing for $1,500 and cut its sales in half. They may have actually made more money doing it, but lost a lot of revenue and given that business to other people like Samsung at half the price. Nice move up here today, just no volume, which is kind of pretty typical. We're up on 26 million shares today. We had 22 million, so the volume has picked up a little bit. But the gap up on the second was on almost 70 million shares. Just a light volume day all around. I don't think you can make anything other than the fact that this thing did break that previous high on the second with 70 million shares, and you wanted to have at least 50 million shares, and you got it. So a valid breakout. I don't know exactly how much is left in the gas tank for Apple, but of course, if I'm playing any of these stocks that have all this cash overseas at this point and from now on, I'd only be playing them with options. One, if you do get the big upside, then more power to you. On the downside, you've limited your risks, which you may not be able to do if these tax cuts and, of course, the repatriation does not go through. I think eventually it will, but you could have one big, huge, bad hair day out here if these things do not continue to fly. Let's take another look at IBM and some of these other stocks that were out here for a while, going higher. This thing has broken through the previous low. It was kind of hanging around that October 18th of 2016 low at 143.49. Again, not a lot of juice to the downside. 4.6 million shares yesterday. Another gap down today on 2 million shares. This thing may be getting into some level that may be viable for a bounce. I think that level would be 136.40, 136.80, which goes back to the June 27th low. And you've got a little gap in there. So that, 138, 136. Take a look at it in there. The energy, though, just a little bit too much for me off that February 16th high at 181.29.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Yes, I'm going to write a long tome about me and my gluten. What else do we have going on? We're looking at Google. Of course, Google's been embroiled in a big brouhaha about what is and what isn't politically correct. Of course, if you're in Silicon Valley, you have to out-virtue signal everyone else in it. One of the guys there wrote that he was hoping that his daughter would not learn the lesson that you go and complain every time you don't get your way to HR. And, of course, that got him fired. My guess is he's going to get a big award settlement and be a little bit better off anyway. But there is this kind of thing going on out there that, you know, it almost seems Soviet in nature, that you can be more moral and more, in that case, it was more communist than anybody else. But over there, it's kind of a vicious war to be more and more politically correct. And, of course, this guy got his head cut off for trying to say maybe we should have a little grit. Maybe our kids should have a little gumption, especially the women out there. Probably should maybe we're better off toughening up a little bit. Well, anyway, that doesn't fly in the ground zero of political correctness, so he had to head on out. But what else can you say about it? Didn't seem to move Google, although if you're thinking about the message that they're sending to the financial sectors, it's all about that and not whether or not they're making money. We found out on earnings that they disappointed a little bit on the 25th. Just been kind of going down out here. Again, not enough energy off this high, nice gap down. But to me, the 905, 910 area is where this thing will probably find some kind of low if the market ever does pull back. And that may actually be a buyable low. And these guys can get back to driving their Priuses to go get on their 787s. Of course, you got to be virtue signaling everywhere out there. What else do we want to look at real quick? Netflix, NFLX. They apparently picked up David Letterman. I never could stand him. In fact, even these days, they play reruns of Johnny Carson. I think he was much better. I still watch those instead of the other 3 clowns that they have on, or is it 4 clowns now? Hard to tell at that 11:30 who's on what, but not funny at all. Kind of just mean. I always thought David Letterman was kind of mean too. He was funny at the beginning and then got mean. But they got him now. Doesn't seem to be making a lot of difference out here with you. But yeah, it just Johnny was, especially if you were on the wrong side of him, he would make fun of you. But it was funny. It wasn't just mean. And I don't know, these kind of, there's a fine line between being mean and being funny. I think they've all hopped that line and jumped that shark a long time ago. Probably why Johnny Carson was in 30 million homes, and most of these guys are glad if they can get into 3 or 4 million homes today. But anyway, nice move out here back into this level. If you could get about 167, that would probably be as good as it gets if volume continues to decrease for an ABC up in Netflix. You may never get it. A lot of times these stocks hang out here. The problem is that it wouldn't take much, I think, in this jittery market to probably see this thing drop $10 or so. But if the volume would remain low, that would be maybe a buying opportunity to go higher. What else do we have out here? Wanted to look and see how some of these other stocks were doing. I think that's about it. Let's take a quick look at Tuesday evening. We talked about some of these yesterday and to see if there's anything else out here. GoDaddy, not doing anything. Let's go ahead and look to Thursday and see if I see anything going on there. What else do we have? Nordstrom up a little bit. I think that was on a little bit of sympathy with Coors. It gave most of that back today. They were up about $1.50. over the close yesterday. Again, all the discussion of them being bought out, I think, will turn to dust eventually. But trying to find where to pull the trigger on that short is going to be tough. NVIDIA, of course, after the bell on Thursday night, been watching this going up against its 92 million share high on June 9th. It did so at 168.50. We went through that yesterday with 18 million shares. Today we went a little higher and rolled back with 14 million shares. So again, I don't think you can make a lot of these things. They're just hanging out up at the highs, going into earnings, and that's about it. PBR, which is Petrobras, this is back right at resistance levels. Again, this is after the bell on Thursday night. So this is just about as good as it gets. If this thing would get some bad news over the next couple of days in the energy sector, as the OPEC meeting does nothing, this could easily get back down to that 761. Let's take a look at Thursday morning. We've got EAT, which is Brinkers. EAT, this thing bounced a little bit still, just looks like it's going straight down. Canadian Goose, this is a fairly new IPO. Okay, I'm just checking my emails. Okay, a little bounce out here. Okay, Canadian Goose had its low at $18.50. It went through that to $8.18 yesterday. Did a little reversal. Volume was about half, up a little higher. I think this is going to be one of these stocks that's rather seasonal. You may want to keep an eye on this thing come late September or 1st of October and see if it doesn't base out. I don't know what they're going to do on earnings, but summertime's probably not their big time. They make all these jackets, very expensive jackets, with real, I guess, Canadian goose feathers. But my guess this fall, this may be one of these Uggs things where you get 2-3 good years of them doing well. But again, I think probably maybe 8 weeks away from probably buying this for a run into the fall. But keep that on your radar. Okay, Kohl's. Again, a couple of these retailers bouncing on a little sympathy with Coors, but this is Kohl's. Again, you're going to have some fairly monster resistance at about $46. And again, this is Thursday morning. So don't have a lot going on in here, but we're going to continue to look. We're up 1.5 points on the S&P cash, volume 1.25 billion shares. So another quiet day on the Western Front. We'll be back after this.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
The Taz Profile Scanner Plus, developed by John Logan and his team, is a standalone piece of software that can change the way you trade. Let the Taz Profile Scanner work for you by scanning over 5,000 financial instruments such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial to the Taz Profile Scanner Plus right at TFNN.com. And when you sign up, you gain instant access to John Logan's most recent webinar, How Price, Volume, and Time Make Market Profile So Unique. This hour-long webinar with John Logan will walk you through the most powerful features of the scanner and how you can use it to become a more successful and profitable trader. You pay absolutely nothing for 30 days while you try out this software risk-free. For more information on the Taz Profile Scanner and to get your 30-day free trial today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And I put it in the Dan a link, but the Carson podcast. There's a guy that used to be a writer for The Daily Show who just goes around and interviews everybody that was ever on the Johnny Carson show. And some of these things are just outright gems. They had Peter I can't even say it, Bogdanovich. Yeah. Dog Day Afternoon, all the other ones that he made. He made 4 or 5 movies there in the early 70s that were all #1 movies and huge box office. The Last Picture Show, I think that was his first big one. But well worth listening to, but very interesting to have these people go back and talk about what it was like to be on the Johnny Carson podcast. I thought it was a lot of the interviews are very good with people that are very interesting. We'll see. What else do we have going on here? We were talking about coals. Again, anything that you get in a bounce on this one, I think, is going to be sold off fairly quickly. We've got on Thursday morning Macy's, so a little taste of retail, which may just be bouncing because there just isn't any more people to sell. So we're getting a little of these bounces out here. Pergo, which is a drug company, looks like it may be basing out at the lows. Volume's just a little lighter than it was back on April 4th, 65.47. It's not that much lighter that I would buy it, but I do like the way that this thing's come off the 77.74 high on June 26, and it's done so on lighter energy pretty much all the way down. SCON, which is Superconductor Technologies. It's a little penny stock. And again, $1.04 is about what you're looking for. And why? I just say why. The Last Picture Show. Yeah. Man, how many great people came out of that movie. This one is up against long-term resistance. When we look at this one, you got 3 gaps. Here we go. You got 3 gaps. Let's go back. Well, you got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all around this high back on June 17th, 2015. That's what you're running right into now. Juice, 2 million shares yesterday, 700,000 shares today. Energy probably a little lighter than you like on the January 4th leg up. But again, a lot of these have gone up on slightly lighter volume and continued to go higher. So not a lot to change in that. Let's take a look at some of the other ones out here. I wanted to go through some of the ones I had been looking at. Restoration Hardware. Let's see how this one did today. It's come back down to what's pretty much the support level. This thing, of course, ran after last earnings and kind of sold off again, but it's back to probably what the market suspects is fair value around the $60 level. You had a May 10th high at $60.11. It gapped through that same level on the 23rd of June. We're right back to it, and this thing is acting like it's sitting on a ledge. It tried to pierce it this morning, did so on fairly light volume and hanging out at that low. We looked at NVIDIA already. I want to look at Nike out here. This one, again, these retail stocks have been coming back up a little bit, but got some fairly distance. I got to take a small drink here. Does have a little bit of resistance when it comes back. When this thing blew up on earnings back on the 23rd of March, it did so on 27 million shares. But, you know, you've had some good juice. You had 46 million shares on the 8th, the spike higher. So you do have some very interesting and determined buyers. This did gap up, but again, everything, unless you get through about 65 bucks, you got fairly stiff resistance, and then the next resistance level comes right in at just under 68 bucks. So I think you got kind of an overhang. Unclear on whether Nike's going to do well or not for earnings, but it certainly looks like, you know, you've got 5, 6, 7 bucks maybe tops on the upside. You got 55 bucks on the downside. The risk reward there looks fairly tough going into it. A lot of these, I think I would just ring the register if I was long these things and wait and see what happens after earnings. We're up half a point on the S&P cash. Volume continues to be fairly light at 2.2 billion shares. BZH, let's take a look at that one real quick. This one's back up to resistance levels on about a fourth of the volume. Tried again today, December 8th. Was $15.80. Got into 16.26 yesterday, or actually today. Yesterday, what did it do? 600,000 shares today, 440,000 shares. So we're probably going to do that. But that also comes into a little bit more than a third of the volume of that December 8th high. Energy's been okay since that March 22nd low on it. I don't know if you can make a great deal on it. Alcoa in the metals, looks like this thing is, the risk reward's kind of tough again on this one. Did spike today, got to $40.36. 13.5 million shares is what you're looking for from the February 13th high at 39.78. We've got 7 million shares. So maybe you get 10 million shares. You're going to probably be 3 million shares light on Alcoa. Acadia Pharmaceuticals. This one's just back up to this gap down level on lighter volume. We got Kohl's, Momo. Still got the Momo, no rig sign on that one. We talked about NVIDIA. What's PRI? Oh, Primerica. This one spiked into its high and through its gap yesterday. This one actually looks like it has a chance of a fairly decent reversal. I wish I would have caught it up at the highs, but things were looking a little more rosy this morning. But that one does look very interesting as a potential reversal candidate out here. We did Restoration Hardware. Let's see if we can't look at a few more. Go back last week, take a look at a few of these. Let's see, look at Tesla. Tesla, again, when you get into the end of it, I know there's a lot of people thinking the market's finally going to roll over. We've heard it 100 times. Eventually, it will be true. But one of the things that does happen is the most highly shorted stocks and the most hated stocks tend to go higher. because the shorts give up just before everything turns down. Tesla popping up today on some fairly decent volume, got to 368. So we look at that on the retracement level, and we are back up 354.06. We're probably about the 782 level up here. What we do have is fairly light volume other than the big days that this thing gapped up, that you've had about 3 days out here. And of course, they're raising cash. Everything says that this stock should fall over and drop dead instantly, but that's it.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And have a few requests to get to the TLT out here. I mean, you've got, and you can see it in the confluence levels of the bigger moves out here. You're just stuck in this big no man's land from the highs and the lows of 141.06 to the 115.49 low. And again, lower highs, higher lows. This thing's going to have to break out probably fairly significantly up to 130 or down to 120. And my guess would be, just like about everything else out here, that you're looking to fade whatever move comes out of the next week if we do finally break out of these levels. We're flat on the S&P cash. Is there anything really to jump up and down about? If we would have gone up to 2,500 I think maybe we could have. My guess is that we do that tomorrow and maybe even go a little higher. And maybe you see the volume, even in the markets, drop half of even its anemic level that we have already to signal a top. But my guess is that the top is not going to be subtle coming into these highs. It's going to be rather dramatic. We'll be up 20 or 30 points, and it'll give it all up in the same day, maybe in an hour or something. It'll be something dramatic to let us know that the bell's rung and the tide is headed out. I just don't see that. Normally at highs, you see a ton of stocks. I'll do my scan, and I'll find 100 stocks. Same way on the bottom. I'll find 100 or 200 stocks that are testing lows on lighter volume, or I'll find 200. I got about 20 on either side testing highs or lows. They're not just that much of a good signal out here, and I don't have an abiding belief that anything's going to change tomorrow. Again, fairly light. We continue to see a lot of stocks that are highly shorted, like Coors and others, go higher. So what could we have? Yeah, could it be a little high? I think. But to me, it's all about options expiration, and we hit that tomorrow, at least the start of it, to go delta neutral. So I'm looking for one last hurrah at least. In the meantime, sell when you can, not when you have to.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.